Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm Karen Yarhimilo. I'm the Dean of the School of International Public Affairs here at Columbia and the Adlai E. Stevenson Professor of International Relations. We have so many remarkable guests with us today, and before I begin, I'd just like to formally recognize a few members of our audience. Gina Raimondo, 40th U.S. Secretary of Commerce, is here with us today. Sarah Jacobs, Congresswoman representing the state of California. Laura Kavanaugh, New York City Fire Department Commissioner. We have Julie Menin, New York City Councilwoman. And I offer a special welcome to Her Royal Highness Mabel van Oranje, Princess of the Netherlands, who is also with us today. And I want to recognize Claire Shipman, our own Claire Shipman, co-chair of the Columbia Board of Trustees. And of course, Secretary Clinton. I will take every opportunity I have to recognize you, but we'll take more later to talk about that. So thank you all for being with us today. It is really hard to believe that we launched SIPA's Institute of Global Politics just 6 months ago. In that time, I would say, we've done more than some institutes do in years. And though, of course, that's not surprising, given who our leader is, as Secretary Clinton herself likes to say, if you want something done, ask a busy woman to do it. And I have. From our very first conversations about IGP, Hillary and I were aligned on a plan. We wanted to launch the Institute, then turn to one of the most important and most overlooked topics there is, the full and equal participation of women. We were determined to approach this not as an afterthought, but rather as a core focus of IGP. Now, when I became Dean of SIPA, we identified 5 pressing global challenges. Each of these challenges is a women's issue. When women are included in the peace process, agreements are more likely to be reached and to last. Geopolitical stability is a women's issue. From the Taliban's efforts to end girls' education in Afghanistan to abortion bans around the world and in states across the United States, attacks on women's rights are often early indicators of democratic backsliding. Democratic resilience is a women's issue. Women and girls are more likely to depend on natural resources and less likely to survive when natural disaster strikes. And at the same time, women are leading efforts to adapt and take action. Climate is a women's issue. Experts estimate that if we close the global gender gap in workforce participation, we could grow GDP by $28 trillion. Inclusive prosperity is a women's issue. 85% of women and girls around the world have experienced online harassment and abuse. Technology is a women's issue. Every global challenge is a women's issue, and addressing these challenges through that lens is an urgent imperative. We are launching IGP's Women's Initiative to do just that. The Women's Initiative will produce rigorous, actionable research and policy proposals around 4 thematic pillars: women's economic opportunities, women's health, women's safety and security, and women's leadership, democracy, and human rights, all in service of advancing women's full and equal participation. Because these issues affect not just women, but all of humanity, it isn't enough to think domestically or internationally. We need to leverage the same local to global approach we bring to all of our work here at IGP. Because these complex challenges demand collaboration, we're leveraging the convening power that we have here to bring together great minds to solve problems and share ideas. And because it's not enough to produce scholarship that gets talked about within university walls, we need to ensure data and evidence are translated into policy and practice. As you can imagine, launching an effort this ambitious takes a village, and I want to thank a few members of ours. First, President Emeritus Lee Bollinger for believing and supporting what IGP could become from the very beginning, and for appointing many women to positions of leadership at the university, including myself. And it is special to launch this initiative at this moment at Columbia, now that the university is led by its first female president, Minouche Shafik, who is a wonderful friend to SIPA and IGP. Thank you to the trustees and trustees emerita of Columbia University. Some of you are here today, whose guidance and support have been so valuable and meaningful to me and to us. And to the SIPA advisory board members who are here today, your leadership and partnership is so critical to our success. A very special thank you to Trustee Emerita Ann Kaplan, who has been at the forefront of efforts to support women and women's issues here at Columbia for the better part of 2 decades. We're so proud to have her as the founding donor of this initiative. Thank you, Anne, and I know you're watching via the live stream. This means a lot. I'm also proud to announce something very cool. We have a new partnership with the clothing branding Theory. Theory and the Women's Initiative are joining forces to fuel innovative research, education, and outreach programs aimed at advancing opportunities for women worldwide and across different sectors. So stay tuned for more information later in the program, but let me just thank Theory for being such a fierce believer in the power of women. It's a really great partnership. And lastly, when you look at the room, and the incredible lineup we have, you know that some people have been working around the clock to make this happen. And indeed, this group is our incredible team at SIPA. Christina, Lauren, Katie, Alex, Rachel, Susan, Mariana, Brett, Caroline, Eduardo, Felicia, and many others who have contributed to today. Thank you. You really deserve a big round of applause. Now, if there is one person who embodies what it means to advocate for women's full and equal participation, it's, of course, Hillary Rodham Clinton. In Beijing in 1995, she turned the world's attention to the status of women and girls and sent a powerful message that has echoed across the decades. Women's rights are human rights. Hillary, on behalf of all the women who are here today and countless more who are not, thank you doesn't even begin to cover it. It is an honor of a lifetime to do this work alongside with you and to call you a friend, a co-teacher, a partner, and a part of our SIPA family. Please join me in welcoming Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Karen, and thanks to all of you for being here for this launch. It's a very exciting day here at IGP and SIPA and Columbia because we really believe that we are starting something that can have a lasting impact far beyond the walls of the university. But let me start by saying very clearly that simply embracing the concept of women's rights, let alone enshrining those rights in laws and constitutions, is not the same as achieving full equality. Rights are important, but they are nothing without the power to claim them. And again, especially in recent times, we have seen anger, hostility, sexism, and misogyny directed at women who have the audacity to seek power. Deep-seated biases are even harder to change than discriminatory laws. So it is no coincidence that while we have made progress in areas traditionally associated with women, such as healthcare and education, we have struggled to match that progress in the economy, politics and democracy, and national security. And I admit I find this frustrating because when I was in Beijing, as Karen has referenced, and declared that women's rights are human rights, my daughter Chelsea was 15 years old. And I very much wanted to raise her in a world where women were free and equal. Now she has grown up with a daughter and sons of her own. She's doing her own very important work to fight for justice and equality. And I still find myself reminding people that women's rights are human rights. I'd hoped that that would be old news by now. I still see women and girls bearing a disproportionate burden in almost every global crisis. And when the internet and social media gave us new ways to connect, they also gave rise to new ways to harass and threaten women. But when I find myself in moments of frustration or weariness, I like to look to women like the ones you will hear from today, and to be reminded of what we are fighting for and the power we have to make change. Women are not just victims of violence and equality. We are agents of peace and progress. And the women we'll hear from today are just a few of the remarkable women working across this university, across this country, indeed across the world, to liberate themselves, lift up their communities, and find new ways to build momentum toward equality. As we conceived this institute, there was never a question that we would not integrate women's perspectives in everything we were doing. There was to be no siloing of women's issues. Women's issues are, as Karen just reminded us, world issues. And some people might ask, well, still, why do we need another project on women's equality? Well, Karen gave you some insight as to what we believe will make IGP's initiative different. The world-class scholarship that will produce impactful policy recommendations, the convening of smart, inspiring women with expertise and experience to move us forward, the training of the next generation of women leaders, and yes, men who believe in equality too. But the real answer is we need this IGP Women's Initiative because women are not free or equal yet. So we welcome you, and I am particularly pleased that Her Royal Highness Princess Mabel is here. She has been a great leader globally in women's inclusive economic prosperity. And we want this to be a global outreach, to learn what we can learn from anywhere and anybody across the world.